You are watching two strangers argue over a parking spot, and something in your chest tightens just from witnessing it. Your fists clench slightly, your jaw sets. You didn't choose this reaction. It happened before you even decided to care, but the real reason you're wired this way is far stranger than a bad mood. You call it conflict. Your ancestors called it survival. Humans have fought each other for longer than history has been able to record. But the question isn't whether you fight. The question is why a species smart enough to build cities, cure diseases, and send probes past the edge of the solar system still can't stop hurting its own kind. So why can't humans stop fighting? Is it something broken in you? Or is it something that was never meant to be turned off? Go back 6 million years to the last common ancestor you share with chimpanzees. Watch what happens at the border of two chimpanzee territories. Groups of males patrol the edges in near silence. If they encounter a lone male from a rival group, they do not walk away. They attack, sometimes fatally, sometimes as an organized raiding party. Primatologist Richard Wrangham spent years documenting exactly this behavior, and he found something unsettling. This isn't chaotic aggression, it's calculated. Chimpanzees only attack when they outnumber their rival, when the odds guarantee almost no risk to themselves. Wrangham's research suggests this pattern, a kind of low-cost, high-reward violence against outsiders, may be older than humanity itself. That single detail changes the whole story. If violence against strangers shows up in your closest living relatives, then it likely didn't start with you. It started millions of years before the first human ever stood upright. Now walk forward to a hunter-gatherer camp 40,000 years ago. Resources are scattered, territory is loosely defined, and the group you belong to is the only thing standing between you and starvation. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Being part of a group wasn't a luxury. It was survival math. A lone human, no matter how strong, could not defend against a leopard, gather enough food, or raise a child alone for long. Belonging to a group meant protection, shared labor, and shared defense. But it also meant something darker. It meant defining, without ever saying it aloud, who was not in your group. Jane Goodall watched this dynamic collapse into open war when she studied chimpanzees at Gombe. A single community split in two, and over 4 years, males from one faction systematically hunted down and killed nearly every male from the other. Goodall herself described being stunned by the brutality because for years she had assumed only humans were capable of something resembling war. What she discovered instead was older and more disturbing. The instinct to divide the world into us and them and to treat them as expendable isn't a flaw unique to humans. It's a strategy old enough to predate language, tools, and even fire. Your brain still runs this exact strategy today. Notice how fast you can sort people into categories: rival team, opposing political party, different accent, different neighborhood. You don't consciously choose to feel a flicker of distance toward an outsider. It happens in milliseconds, the same way your ancestors needed it to happen in milliseconds because hesitation once meant death. But here's the twist that reframes everything. If aggression toward outsiders is ancient, why does most of your day involve no violence at all? Psychologist Steven Pinker spent over a decade collecting historical data on violent deaths across centuries, tribal societies, empires, and modern nations. What he found challenges almost everyone's assumption about human history. Despite 2 world wars, despite headlines that make today feel uniquely brutal, Pinker's research indicates that, statistically, you are less likely to die a violent death right now than nearly any human who has ever lived. Consider that for a moment. Your ancestors in small-scale societies faced shockingly high rates of violent death, often from constant low-level raiding between neighboring groups. You, sitting somewhere safe enough to watch a video on your phone, are living through what may be the most peaceful period in the entire history of your species. So if you were built for conflict, why does modern life feel so calm most of the time? Because the same brain that evolved to identify threats also evolved something else alongside it: the ability to expand who counts as us. Your ancestors' circle of trust extended maybe to a few dozen people. Yours can extend to millions of strangers you'll never meet because they share a flag, a language, a fan base, or even just a hashtag. This is the real answer hiding underneath the question. Humans didn't stop being capable of violence. Humans got extraordinarily good at redrawing the line of who belongs on the inside. That's why you can feel genuine grief over a tragedy on the other side of the planet involving people you'll never meet, while still feeling a flash of irritation at the stranger who cut you off in traffic 5 minutes ago. Both reactions come from the exact same ancient machinery. One is aimed at a stranger who feels like them. The other is aimed at a stranger your mind has quietly decided counts as us. And this is where your own daily conflicts start to make more sense. That argument with a coworker, that flash of anger at a driver who merged too close, that tension in a group chat that somehow spirals out of control. None of these are wars, but your nervous system doesn't fully know that. It's running software built to defend a small tribe from a small number of real physical threats, except now it's applied to hundreds of low-stakes social disagreements a week. Your ancestors fought rarely, but when they did, the stakes were often existential. You fight constantly, but the stakes are almost always symbolic. A comment section, a disagreement over dinner plans, a tone in a text message that felt colder than intended. The trigger changed. The alarm didn't. So no, you are not broken for feeling your pulse spike during an argument that rationally doesn't threaten your survival at all. That spike is a 6 million-year-old inheritance still doing exactly the job it was built to do, just aimed at a world it was never designed to interpret. The real story isn't that humans are uniquely violent, it's that humans are uniquely capable of choosing again and again who gets to be spared from that violence. Every time you expand that circle, every time a stranger becomes one of us instead of one of them, you are quietly overriding 6 million years of instinct with something your ancestors rarely had the luxury to practice: the choice of who deserves to be safe. You are watching two strangers argue over a parking spot and something in your chest tightens just from witnessing it. But now maybe you understand it isn't really about the parking spot at all.